Talk to me, Michele. On the street lights on the corner. City vibes got a story. Feel the beat, don't ignore me.
Welcome into another episode of Talk to Me Michele. I am your host, Michele. Hopefully everybody out there is doing well, and I appreciate you guys tuning in. And I want you guys just to really get your head ready for this conversation we're going to have today. Because we got an election coming up. Early voting has already begun, and election day is just around the corner. For me, this year feels like a peak of political noise. It's a constant stream of election ads, the flood of campaign text messages, and every time I'm driving, it's like neighborhoods full of yard signs of the candidates of their choice. Some even got banners. I even saw a banner hanging on a person's house with a candidate on it that was made up like Rambo. It's crazy for me. So while I'm no stranger to political commentary, because my sister and I once did a segment for the J. Anthony Brown Show on politics, and that segment was 3 minutes. And I've come to realize that that's about the limit I like to give politics in reality. So for this episode, I'm going to keep things concise. Just the key highlights on what this year's election means to me, my own perspective. And let me go ahead and give my disclaimer up front, because these are my personal views. I have no shame in supporting the candidate of my choice, and I'm sure some of you may feel differently. I ask that you don't take my opinions personally if they differ from yours. America lets us think that we have a voice in how this country is run through elections. But over the years, I've noticed it's also become a tool of division among us. When it comes to this year's election, the key candidates are grabbing the most attention. We have Madam VP Harris and former President Donald Trump. Now, the current vice president represents the Democratic ticket, and it seems like a symbol of progress, especially for women and minorities. And she's also known for her work on issues like healthcare, climate change, and social justice. And her candidacy is more important for those who want to continue down that path of leadership. Now, on the other side, you got Donald Trump, a polarizing figure who has a strong base of support on the Republican side. Trump's platform focuses on issues like immigration, national security, and economical growth. He is well known for his bold, often controversial approach to politics, and his influence on the Republican Party has continued to shape the political landscape. These two candidates represent a very different vision of America's future, which is why this election is drawing so much intense focus. One thing I've noticed over the years, that at least 20 years ago, election coverage was much simpler, at least from my perspective as a child. You know, the only time I remember hearing about politics was when somebody actually won. I don't recall back-to-back ads on TV or constant campaign outreach through text messages, because of course that wasn't during my time. Maybe I was too young or just didn't care as much, but it felt like the political noise was far less intense than it is right now. I just don't recall it being this intense. And traditional media has always been the main source of election information, and it still plays a significant role in shaping how people vote. But over time, media coverage has shifted. Back then, news outlets played the middleman. They didn't play the influencer. They were the middleman, simply covering the election process. But now, traditional media seems to be more focused on shock value and clickbait. Candidates are often caught making derogatory remarks about each other on specific groups of Americans even, and it sets an immature tone. It's just like watching the play yard bully have his victim of the day. And have you ever noticed how much attention a candidate draws when they make outlandish statements or spread false information? Instead of informing us, the media seems to be entertaining us, and we're losing sight of the key issues. And that is a major distraction in this election. But as an American, it's even sadder when you hear about how America is funding incentives abroad, while at home we're facing growing crime, homeless situation, and our underfunded education system. We wonder why. But the answer is right in front of us. We're not paying attention to what really matters because the media has turned elections into a circus. Social media has only amplified this because now we're seeing endless ads, live streamed events, people arguing over candidates and political parties. Social media is supposed to be connecting us. But when it comes to elections, it feels like it's dividing us even more. Anytime I put up something slightly political, it's always an ass in the comments. And I'm just like, I don't understand. If you object with my views, why are you over here? We are not having these meaningful conversations about solutions. We're so stuck in echo chambers and distracted by all this nonsense rather than focus on what really is affecting our lives. Voter engagement has truly evolved because over the years, the trends we're going by today. 20 years ago, the voter turnout was way lower because younger voters and minority groups didn't participate as much. Politics didn't resonate as strongly with these groups, and efforts to engage them were bare minimum. And however, recent elections have seen a surge in engagement, particularly among young voters and minorities. Social issues like racial justice, climate change, and economical inequality have become a rallying point that inspire younger generations to vote. And additionally, targeted outreach, social media campaigns, grassroots movements have amplified the voices of minorities, leading to higher turnout and more political involvement. And these groups are now seen as a key to winning elections. That's why you see certain trends with political campaigns. What's going to reach the younger market? What's going to reach the minority market? These groups are now seen as keys to winning elections because their increased participation reflects more diverse and engaged content. You see the way that political campaigns are now. They are getting more geared to younger voters. Campaign strategies have drastically changed from traditional methods like rallies and TV ads. Today, we have more online approaches. In the past, political campaigns relied heavily on physical rallies, door-to-door campaigning, a broad TV or radio ad to reach voters. The tactics were there, and they were designed to cast a wide net, but it didn't have the precision in targeting specific groups. So today we have campaigns that use advanced data analysis, also to create highly targeted ads that speak directly to specific demographics. Now, social media platforms, they allow micro-targeting. These are ads that are tailored to individuals based on their online activity, interest, and location. And online campaigning includes viral content, the live streams, the email. And if I get one more damn text message from one of these campaigns, I'm glad I got a spam filter. You know how you go to Google, you look up something, as soon as you hit your social media feed, it's in your feed? That's what they're doing when it comes to campaigning. And the shift has made campaigns more efficient, a little bit more strategic, but also more invasive, and it's personalized. When it comes to election security, there is a new step up because now there's concerns about voter fraud in the past two current elections and focusing on cybersecurity and election integrity. In earlier elections, most of the debates centered around in-person voter fraud. You know, when people would show up multiple times or they would have, all these additional false identities. That was very bare minimum. But now, with the rise of digital voting systems, online databases, the primary concern has shifted from cybersecurity threats. There are hacking issues, interference by foreign actors, and the integrity of voting technology have become a major point and a major focus when it comes to elections. And ensuring secure online systems, we don't have any type of protection when it comes to our data. We don't. And maintaining public trust in the election process are the current priorities. So the shift reflects how technology has changed, the vulnerabilities, the safeguards that are needed to protect democracy. So why is this election so important? I will tell you because it's crucial for Americans because it directly impacts the future of key issues such as healthcare, the economy, climate change, and social justice. Voter turnout can shape policies that affect daily lives, from our job security to the inflation, our education, civil rights, and the election will determine leadership that's going to lead it in that direction, influence the balance of power in government, and impact judicial appointments that uphold or challenge rights. Ultimately, the outcome will influence the nation's values, the priorities, making it a very big part of shaping America's future. Now, we've heard so much on our democracy. It's under attack. Are we still in a point of our country? Do we have democracy still? So that's a big impact of this current election. The stakes are high on this one. And the key issues such as voting rights, health care, climate policy, you name it. Americans' government, their spending is like giving a spoiled child an American Express, and every month the balance gets bigger. That's what the American government does with the money. But these factors are creating economical uncertainty, and how candidates plan to address them will play a big role in voters' decisions. Climate change policies are critical focus because reflecting on the urgent need to address global environmental issues. This extreme weather we've been experiencing almost every other week. There's a storm, there's a hurricane, there's a flood, and the events are more frequent, they're more severe, and the conversation around climate action is very intensified right now. People we don't even have the funding no more. We about to tap out our emergency resources. Right now we need sustained action. It's necessary to mitigate the worst effects of climate change. How is this election going to shape the climate policy? I mean, I've not really heard too much on that. I'm just giving you my personal notes. We got to look for our future as well as future generations and the planet's overall health. The future of healthcare and access to affordable medical services, major concern in this election, because these candidates are proposing various plans. Well, at least I heard one got a plan, but it's to tackle rising healthcare costs, expanding coverage, and improve access to quality medical services. Key issues include affordability, prescription drugs, the expansion of Medicaid, and the efforts that strengthen Affordable Care Act, or AKA Obamacare. Many Americans go into debt just with high medical bills alone. The inadequate insurance, the highlighting the need for a more comprehensive reform. So voter preferences in this election could lead to the significant changes in healthcare policy, influencing how services are delivered and who has access to them. The decisions made will now have lasting effects overall on all of our healthcare, well-being of population, and making healthcare a critical issue in shaping the future. Criminal justice reforms and growing concerns about public safety are very big issues in this election. In recent years, there has been increasingly an awareness of a systematic issue that we've got within the criminal justice system. It's like racial disparities, mass incarceration, the need for police reform. Many candidates are, advocating for policies that are aimed at addressing these problems, including changes in sentencing laws, improved mental health support, and community-based policing incentives. At the same time, public safety concerns have surged, particularly in response to rising crime rates in certain areas, and voters are looking for solutions. We need a balance that's going to be effective law enforcement and that's going to have a justice reform that actually works. How are candidates addressing these dual challenges? Their, influence to public perception of safety and justice can sometimes be scary because policies make the impact on communities, and that's across the country. And the outcome could lead a transformation of changes in the criminal justice system. Politics, they have increasingly created deep divisions in the country. This is affecting our relationships among family and friends. As political discourse has become more polarized, people often find themselves aligning with different ideas, different policies, leading to heated debates and conflicts. Social media amplifies these divisions by fostering echo chambers where people are exposed to only views that reinforce their beliefs. In many households, we have talks that once were friendly, they were neutral at times. Sometimes we could have difference of opinion, but it wouldn't be a big blow up with loved ones. Issues like race, immigration, the economy, they've become flashpoints, making it difficult for people to find a common ground. With the whole environment now just in a tense state, it's impacting personal relationships, but it contributes to a broader sense of social discord. Navigating political conversation has become a more sensitive endeavor, with many choosing to avoid discussions altogether just to preserve our relationships. And I have that approach too. When I already know there's a family member or a friend and we're not agreeing politically, we don't need to talk about it. I mentioned earlier how social media amplifies it along with echo chambers, but we also have other portions of it. Because cable news often prioritize being a sensational coverage to capture the audience attention, leading to the exaggerated narratives that deepens divisions. I hate that when there's a news source that puts out something bogus or makes a statement a little bit more than what it was, and they get people hyped up. Social media also enables rapid information. Most of the time, it's misinformation. So that makes it easier to divide people with this content that keeps being put out on a daily basis, and they reach large audiences quickly. Now, misinformation includes the false narratives, the distrust in institutions, manipulation tactics. So this is why we have all this taking place on social media, and that's why we have a bigger division. This election is particularly important for women because key issues affecting our rights and well-being are at stake. One of the most significant concerns is reproductive rights. The government has this increasing influence over women's bodies. I just don't understand. But particularly around access to abortion and contraceptive care. This has raised some serious questions. Now, as women voters, this should be a primary concern because there are decisions that are being made on our behalf. This directly impacts our healthcare choices because healthcare access, women often bear higher healthcare costs, and the future of affordable healthcare is a very critical factor. Also, we have wage disparities. They're still present in, this society, making it essential to support policies that advocate for pay equality and ensuring that equal opportunities and protection against discrimination at work is crucial for women to thrive in our careers. So these are just a few key factors that make this election vital for women's rights and equality. Voting is a way to advocate for policies that protect and advance these important issues. In conclusion, this election holds immense significance for all of us as it addresses vital issues that will shape the future of our country. From healthcare, the economy, to climate action, social justice, the outcomes will have lasting impacts on American democracy and policy direction. Voter concerns about inflation, job stability, the national debt reflect the everyday realities that we may face, highlighting the need for candidates to present realistic solutions. And the urgency of climate change cannot be overlooked. Additionally, criminal justice reform remains the essential in fostering a balance between effective law enforcement and equal justice. Political polarization, fueled by social media and misinformation, it complicates our abilities to engage in meaningful conversations. We just get so mad, but it's crucial that we remain informed and open-minded. Now, for the women, this election brings critical issues to the forefront, including your reproductive rights, your health care access, equal pay, and workplace discrimination. These are key factors in pursuit of gender equality. So as we prepare ourselves to cast our votes, let's commit to understanding the candidates and the key issues at stake. Your voice matters, and informed voting is essential for a brighter future. So I appreciate everybody tuning into my perspective of this year's election, but I do want to encourage everybody to go out and cast your vote, let your voice be heard, do what you got to do. There was too many sacrifices made on our behalf for us not to go do what we need to do right now. Follow me on all social media at Talk to Me Michele, and especially at the YouTube channel, and make sure you turn on those notifications. And if you got a little time in your day, I'd appreciate you give me a review. Couple of stars, a little review would be nice. And if you want to support the content as well as purchase merchandise, head on over to buymeacoffee.com/Talk to Me Michele. So go on ahead, get on out and vote, and I will see you next episode. Peace.